Swatches add control to the creation and application of colors to artwork in Illustrator by allowing you to save colors for reuse later on. Let's take a closer look at how to create and apply swatches in Illustrator. Now I'm going to start by zooming in on my artwork so I can get a better look at what we have here. And I'm going to begin by using my direct selection tool, and I'm going to click on this banner that we have here for the Wild Isles. And I'm going to open up my Swatches panel. Now, we can see that over here in the fill color indicator that it's telling me what color is currently being used on the selected object. And I can also see that if I open up the color panel as well. But in the Swatches panel, you'll notice that this color is not represented anywhere. So even though this is a one-off color for this particular piece of artwork, if I wanted to reuse it anywhere, I wouldn't have it available. So the question becomes, how do I create a new swatch? Well, from existing artwork, it's pretty easy to do. Just like we did when we were applying colors to objects, we can drag and drop to the colored object. We can also drag from the fill indicator, and we can drop this right inside of the symbols panel. And you can see that now we have a brand new swatch that we can use. Now, in addition, you can double-click on the fill indicator to get into the color picker here, and you can click on Color Swatches. This is another place where you can go to access those swatches later on. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hit the Cancel button, and we're going to add a couple of more swatches here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on one of these green objects. Let's go ahead and add this to our Swatches panel, and then we're going to click on this darker brown of the tree trunks here. Let's go ahead and add that as well. Now, if you wanted to, you could give these a more appropriate name, because if you double click on one of these, you're going to see that by default, they are named with the current color value of the swatch. So you can see that it's really rounding these values up, but it's basically telling you the current value that you're using. Now, you can change that if you wish. So we might want to call this banner tan. How about that? And we'll go ahead and click OK. And now when you hover over that swatch, it'll tell you the name of that color. Now, what you can also do is you can create swatches manually as well. So if we come up here to the panel menu, we can choose New Color Swatch. And that will allow us to create our own color swatch out of specific values. You can use the different color modes if you wish. I'm going to leave mine set to CMYK. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the cyan field, and we're going to type 25 for cyan, 25 for magenta, 50 for yellow, and 32 for black. And I'm going to call this the light brown color. Go ahead and click OK. And I'm going to go ahead and create another one. Go to New Swatch. And we can enter in here. This one I'm going to call, say, a medium brown. And then we can go into the CMYK fields. This one's going to be 58, 55, 80, 49. And click OK. And let's go ahead and do one more here. New color swatch. This one we're going to call dark brown. And in the CMYK fields, we're going to do 67, 65, 68, 73. And there we have it. So we have a couple of swatches that we can use in here. Now, what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to zoom in down here on these tents that we have here, because I want to change the color of these objects here. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on these large shapes to the right, and those are going to get applied with the light brown swatch. There we go. And then I'm going to click on the larger triangle. Click on the medium brown, and then we'll click on the small triangles, and we'll make them the dark brown color. There we go. Let's go ahead and make sure these are the medium brown. There we go. And now we have the tents colorized the way they need to be. Now, the one thing I want to point out is you'll notice we're going to come up here to some of the green areas, and what we can do is we can click on one of these, and we can say Select Same Fill Color, and I'm going to apply this green color that we have up here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that to make sure we have the swatch applied. Now, the thing about that is, let's say later on I decide that that green is a little too dark and I want to make it a little bit lighter. What I'm going to do is I can double click on that green swatch and we'll go ahead and give it a new name. Let's call this leaf green. And let's say we wanted to change the color a little bit. Maybe we wanted to lighten the green up a little bit. So what we can do is if you hold down your Shift key on your keyboard as you drag one of these sliders, you're going to adjust them all proportionately, creating like a lighter shade of green. And now if I click OK, you're going to notice that the swatch did in fact change, but none of the objects that had that swatch applied changed with it. Now, why would that be? Well, there's actually a simple answer, and it's something you want to pay attention to. Now, I'm going to go to the Edit menu and choose Undo Swatch Change. So I'll go back to the green swatch that we had there. And I'm going to double-click on that swatch again to show the swatch options. And I'm going to point out this section right here that says Global. And when you create a swatch and you don't have Global checked, there's a disconnect between the swatch and the artwork that has that swatch applied. But if we turn Global on, that now will make sure that this global swatch is connected to the artwork in which it's applied. Now, if I make any adjustments at this point, you're still not going to see any change in the artwork. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. Let's double click on the green again. We're going to make it global. Let's give this a name of leaf green. And then I'm going to change that green value to 97, 55, 82, and 71. We'll go ahead and click OK. And you'll notice that now that swatch indicator has a little triangle in the lower right-hand corner, indicating that it's a global swatch. And what we could do now is if we click on one of these green colors, I'll go to Select, Same Fill Color, and I'm going to actually apply this green swatch to all of those shapes. Now that creates a different situation because if I click off of the artwork and then I double click on this swatch again, I can change these colors. And if I turn my preview on, you're going to notice that all of those objects are now changing along with it. So you can see there's definitely a big benefit to making a swatch global and applying that to your artwork inside of Illustrator. Now I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. We do want to keep it as a darker green, but I'm going to press Command 0 on Mac or Control 0 on Windows because I want to show you a couple more things in the Swatches panel. So first of all, if you go to the Panel menu, you can choose a number of powerful features, one of which is to view the swatches in like a small list view. And that in turn will be able to show you the name of the swatches in a little bit more logical fashion. Now, in addition, what you can do is you can click on the Panel menu here and you can choose Show Find Field. And this is really good when you need to search for a swatch, especially if you have a lot of swatches in here. So if I click in the Find field and I type green, you can see that it's filtering all of my swatches to only those that contain green. So it's a quick way for you to find the swatch that you're looking for, or if you have a certain numbered swatch that you want to use. As you can see, we have some in here for Toyo 0800 and Toyo 0822. So these are other great ways that you can find swatches as well. I think you would agree that it makes sense to create swatches when you have a common color that needs to be reapplied to multiple objects. Making a swatch a global swatch gives you even more control by allowing you to adjust the swatch and have the artwork update instantly.